Good afternoon. To begin with, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Must be having a discussion tonight. We have a nice crowd. Roll call, please.
Gehrig?
Here.
Pepcorn?
Here.
Preston?
Here.
Strand?
Here.
Mahoney?
Here. The library has bike locks to check out on the day while visiting the library. Bike locks are available in all 3 library locations and can be borrowed with a Fargo Public Library card in good standing. The locks are due on the same day as checkout and may be returned at any library book return. The library is gearing up for fall and planning story time to go packets for families. Each packet is geared for children's ages 2 to 5 and will contain everything needed to have a successful story time at home. Each packet contains a book for the children's home library. Story time to go packets will be available starting September 8th while supplies last. The library's annual summer reading program ended August 15th, and some of the numbers for this year's program included 212 children up to the age 4 registered and read 3,041 books. 566 children age 4 to 12 registered with 595,448 minutes read. 118 teens registered with 162,187 minutes read. And 552 adults registered, and they read 2,508 books. People were COVID bound, I think, and read a lot. Also, Officer Tiedemann has been selected to fill the downtown resource officer position starting in January. We do have a couple of downtown officers in the back of the room here tonight as well to listen to the discussion. The Fargo Police Department K-9 dogs traveled to Bismarck recently in regional training and won 1st and 3rd place in the Ire Dog competition. So that's pretty good. We've got a great corps in that area. Other, and Mr. Strand, you'll be happy to hear this one. The second quarter multifamily vacancy and construction survey by Appraisal Services Incorporated showed a drop of 1.87% to Metro-wide vacancy from 8.5% in March to 6.63% in June 1st. The Fargo rate dropped from 9.05% in March to 6.69% in June, difference of 2.36%. The last time a drop in vacancy of this magnitude occurred was in the fall of 2008 and is due to the strengthening demand coupled with a continued low volume of new units coming online. There is a decrease in new rental incentives and rents are beginning to show some growth, suggesting an oversupplied condition of the market is abating. With the onset of COVID-19 in March and dramatic rise in unemployment claims, rent delinquency was a concern. However, this largely appears not to have happened. In a survey of the larger management ownership groups that operate about 19% of the market, the abnormal rise in delinquency was not reported. So fortunately, people were able to keep in their places. Is there a motion to approve the order of agenda?
I so move. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the August 10th, 2020 regular meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Approved. And is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 34?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Gehrig?
Yes.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Preston?
Aye.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. Item 35 is presentation of the Clay alert system. Leon Schaffman to talk to us.
Good evening. Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Leon Schlaffman. I'm your emergency manager, and it's my privilege tonight to give you an update on Clay alerts. You've heard the term code red. You probably had a few of those come across your phone line in the past, and you wondered what was going on in our community. Well, as of September 1st, you're going to hear Clay alerts coming across your phone lines. We have decided to upgrade our mass notification system within the Clay area. 2 years ago, we started looking at different vendors and making sure that we got a good deal and we were getting the best product for what we were paying. And what we found is that we weren't getting the service, we weren't getting the maintenance that we needed, and we weren't getting the value for the dollar. So with our emergency management team and Red River Regional Dispatch, we looked at a number of different vendors, and the Beverage company is the product that we decided to go with. It gives us the opportunity to be able to brand our own product, Cast Clay Alerts. It also gives us the opportunity to expand our product. Mass notification is very important, especially in the social media world. We have to make sure that we're coming across the best thing, our best product. And I'd like to show you what we've got going. I've got a short video.
We went to a new system because we found that the Beverage software provides us a lot more flexibility, a lot more options. So when you sign up for Cast Clay Alerts, there's a couple of great flexibility and benefits that you can have with it. One is that you can get them via text message, you can get them via email, you can get them through phone calls or your landline or through mobile apps. It used to be that you could only have one address associated with you. With this one, you have the choice of adding up to 5 addresses. So like some people like me that might work in West Fargo but live in South Fargo, I may want to get 2 different alerts depending if I'm at work or if I'm at home. You may also add your children's school. That way you can get notifications for every place that you might potentially be.
Any community member that can stay on top of what's going on in their community, especially if it's a situation that affects them or their family, is going to benefit from this. So it's not just going to be pertaining to storms, whether it be a severe thunderstorm, whether it be hail coming through, whether it be a tornado. You know, from a law enforcement perspective, it keeps people informed as to what we're out there doing in an emergent situation. And I know personally, I've had people contact and say, hey, you know, why wasn't I notified, or why did I not get an alert? Why didn't you guys stop by? And that's the first question I always ask is, are you signed up for the program?
From the engineering and public works side, we've used that previously during flood events with enhanced capabilities. We'll likely even use it more to get those critical messages out to property owners. And so we would strongly encourage people to sign up.
So we are going to switch over to the new system in August here as far as having people sign up for it. And then we will terminate the old Code Red system by the end of August. So September 1st, we will go purely on the Cast Clay Alerts. And that'll be the only system that we will send out notifications on.
You know, I think it's just really important to know that even if you were signed up for Code Red, that you have to re-sign up for Cast Clay Alerts, and that it's just a really good system in place that will notify you of things that you need to be aware of from a health standpoint, from an emergency standpoint, citywide. It's a good idea.
You know, much like the system that we had in place prior with Code Red, you know, Cast Clay Alerts is only going to be, you know, an effective program if people sign up. So it's very simplistic from my understanding. It's obviously extremely beneficial, you know, and I would just always advise people to take that time, brief time frame that it is, and sign up for it so you can stay in the know.
Our communications team put that together and they did a phenomenal job. And we put that on every social media that we can, our websites, throughout the jurisdictions. As you've seen, a number of different participants in that. This is multi-jurisdictional, 2 counties that took part in this effort. So Code Red goes away September 1st. So we need people to go in and sign up. Why? Because we don't own the information in Unsolve or Code Red. With Beverage, we will. We own all the information now. When we started this process with Beverage and the Cast Clay Alert systems, we signed up, we bought into 84,000 contacts. We're up to 98,000 contacts signed up. That's about 30,000 more than we have currently with Code Red, so we are way ahead of the game. Our problem is we don't have an event or a disaster going on, so people don't need to sign up, they think. And that's not the case. We need to be prepared. So we encourage people to go on and sign up. You can call 211 and go to First Link. You can use their phone number and they will assist you if you don't have that internet access or that computer. If not, go online and sign up today. It gives us a number of different options to be able to hit the mass notification with our citizens within Cass and Clay counties. So we're excited on the emergency management and dispatch side and our first responders. And that's really a kind of a brief update as far as what we've got, but I'd sure like to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions, any commissioners?
Thank you.
Sounds like a great idea. Thanks, Dan, for heading that up and getting that done, and we're pleased to have that report on that. I have a few minutes before we start public hearings. I have some appointments to the Arts and Culture Commission. I'd take a motion to approve.
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Strand,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Garrick,
Yes.
Pepcorn,
Aye.
Mahoney,
Aye. I think we could take 39, recommendation to extend the resolution extending the moratorium pertaining to retail sales of alcohol beverage, approved June 1st, 2020 to November 30th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion, but I'll let Steve come up and make some comments first. I don't want to.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We have a little noise up here we're trying to figure out, but I think Greg's on that.
No, is that a comment on my stature or something? A little noise coming up, or? Okay, just wanted to make sure. So the moratorium that was originally passed back in March, I believe, and then we've extended it a few times, adjusted a little bit, now including full alcohol. And what I've heard back from the community that services the alcohol is that they need a little more time. Business still isn't coming back. People are dining outside instead of coming inside, and so that's their request, is that we give them a little bit more time. They have seen a lot of acceptance of being able to take, especially the mixed drinks home and that type of thing. So I don't know if you have any other questions or comments.
Mr. Garrick.
The discussion about putting an end date on it, would it make more sense just to suspend it indefinitely and then say, hey, if we're gonna, if we want to reinstitute it down the line, say, okay, we can give you a month notice ahead of time for that, so they can end it at an appropriate time.
Yeah, so I'm not the attorney, but I believe that it's tied to the emergency declaration. And so if the emergency declaration ends, then the moratorium would end. So
Was there a discussion about just ending it through our ordinances?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Pepper.
I guess I think we would have a lot of pushback from some of the different license holders. I think that's the main concern. A lot of them were happy with the continued a short term, but I think if you did a unlimited, I think you'd get a lot of negative comments. And maybe Steve, you can talk a little bit about that.
I think that's exactly what we heard when this moratorium was originally created, was they're willing to, the industry wants to work together to try to help everybody raise up. But if it were something that became a permanent change, that there would be a little bit more concern. So,
Mr. Garrick.
Just last thing I'll say is when this does come to a close, or it begins to look like it's going to, I'll just bring that forward again, talk about liquor control at the next meeting, and then move forward. I'd like to see us vote on that. If it's a no vote, that's fine, but I think that there's been no issues, there's been no problems, people have accepted it, it's been going well, and I don't think it's taking a dramatic amount of money away from off sale. When people purchase a beverage with their dinner, that's what people usually do anyway. So sure, we'll just bring that discussion forward at that time.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn,
Aye.
Garrick,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Strand,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes. I think we'll go into public hearings because the first two are going to be continued anyway or withdrawn. So item 36A, continued to 9/8/20, application by Ad Shark Ventures for a property tax exemption on a project located at 5601 34th Avenue South. They want to continue it to 9/8/20. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Preston,
Aye.
Garrick,
Yes.
Pepcorn,
Aye.
Strand,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes. Withdrawn, application filed by Access Point Technologies for exemption for property and income tax for project located at 4837 Amber Valley Parkway, in which the application will use the Operation Development Medical Devices for Electrophysiology market. They have withdrawn that. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Preston,
Aye.
Strand,
Yes.
Garrick,
Yes.
Pepcorn,
Aye.
Mahoney,
Aye. Item C, Northern Cheyenne Land, Third Edition, a zoning change from general industrial to limited industrial, a first reading of the rezoning ordinance, and a plat of Northern Cheyenne Land, Third Edition. Donald Crest to explain.
Good evening, Commissioners. Donald Crest from the Department of Planning and Development. We just have this one planning item tonight. Your packet for this item includes a zoning ordinance prepared by the City Attorney's Office. This is the Northern Cheyenne Land Third Edition. Locate this here. This is the current 19th Avenue here, 45th Street. This is the old 19th Avenue here. And this is current Northern Cheyenne Land Edition. What's happening here is the applicant is vacating part of this old 19th Avenue right-of-way that's no longer required by the city anymore, and also acquiring this lot, which was it's almost a little leftover piece that would resulted from the rerouting of 19th Avenue. So that's actually a city-owned lot at this time, and the applicant, before we record the plat, the city will complete that deal with the applicant there. The lots are all under so there's the plat that shows some replatting the current lots, and then how the vacated area of 19th Avenue is going to be added to some of the lots there. The lots are undeveloped. There's some shots from this morning, just looking at the lots there. The zoning here is general industrial. The applicant proposes to rezone it to limited industrial, offers a little more opportunity for development in terms of the uses that are available in the LI zone. Still consistent with our plan for that area. The applicant's representative, Mr. Brian Pattengale of Houston Engineering, is with us this afternoon and may wish to address the Commission. Planning Commission's recommendation is stated in the staff report and shown on the screen. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you, Commissioners.
Is there anyone present who wishes to speak on this zoning change? Is there anyone who wishes to speak? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Rustin,
Aye.
Coburn,
Aye.
Garrig,
Yes.
Strand,
Yes.
Mahoney.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Item D, amendments to the 2019 Action Plan Community Development Block Grant. Tia Bresson to talk about this. Bresseth?
Hi, Tia Brasa, Planning Department, particularly Community Development. Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. So agenda item number 36D covers an amendment to the 2019 Community Development Block Grant, mostly related to COVID-19 response. So upon submittal of these amendments to HUD, the city will receive approximately $464,000 to respond to, prepare for, and prevent the spread of COVID-19 in our community. After reaching out to our community partners, the greatest need heard was related to homelessness and people at risk of homelessness. As we all know, one of the best ways to minimize disease spread is to stay home and isolate, especially if you need to quarantine. However, if you're homeless, safely isolating is impossible. And with the loss of many jobs since March, the need for housing assistance is greater than ever. Partners are reporting that almost half of their calls are from first-time users in crisis. So this amendment would allocate $205,000 each to two of our local homeless prevention and housing assistance partners, Sendica, which is Southeastern North Dakota Community Action Agency, and Presentation Partners in Housing. The other great need is distancing within existing shelter space. So currently our Gladys Ray shelter is using handmade wooden bunk beds side by side within their small dorm rooms and a tent outside in the parking lot. So this amendment proposes using $50,000 of the Cdbg COVID-19 funds to fabricate metal beds with solid metal partitions. These beds will keep people better separated, and because they are metal, they are easier to clean and sanitize, and they also offer more privacy. And then one final item that we included in this round of amendments is the donation of Cdbg purchased land to Habitat for Humanity. This lot is located at 702 2nd Avenue North and was formerly the site of a fire damaged home that we demolished with the intention of donating to the Habitat for Humanity group. So we are now ready to transfer that lot, which requires an amendment and a public comment process, which we are currently doing. And today is the last day of the public comment period for all of these items that I've talked about. And so far, we've received no public comments, and tonight is the required public hearing, and after the public hearing closes, we are seeking City Commission approval to submit these items to HUD. And if there are no questions, I would open this up to public comment, if you will, at this time, and then act on it afterwards.
Is there anybody present who wishes to speak to the city commission regarding these amendments? Is there anybody who wishes to speak? We'll close the public comment time. Do I have a motion? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Strand?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Garrick?
Yes.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Mahoney?
Aye. Steve Sprague back at the table. Special assessment on unpaid utility bills.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I think the important thing to note here is a couple of things. First of all, is that these are not the people that are struggling that have just are facing difficulties making their utility bill payments. These are essentially people that for various reasons, either they're not serviced by the city Fargo water, where we have the ability to turn off water, or they're in a different situation where maybe it's a joint account where we can't turn off the water on one account without affecting their neighbors. But the interesting thing is that we sent out notices to 25 accounts, and 15 of those 25 accounts now came forward and made a payment. So what we're down to is 10 accounts with a total of $6,700. So an average balance of $670 that they still owe us. And just would like to move forward with putting this on the assessments to make that collection of that payment. I don't know if there's any questions.
Is there anyone present who wishes to speak to the city commission regarding these assessments? Is there anyone who wishes to speak? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Commissioner Garrick?
Steve, is there a percent that's added to the amount like we do with other assessments? Is there a 1%, for example?
No, it's nothing like that. This is just the unpaid balance. We reset their account back to zero, and then move that amount to assessments. No add-ons, no markups, nothing like that.
Roll call vote?
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Strand?
Yes.
Garrick?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. Special assessments to the maintenance of the Skyway system, Steve Sprague.
So this is the annual maintenance of the Skyway. We're assessing $100,000 to be spread out to the various businesses along the Skyway. This covers the heating, cooling, maintenance of the Skyway. That comes to about $80,000 a year, the cleaning and that type of thing. And it leaves us about $20,000 that we start building a reserve in our accounts, so that when we have something major like a roof replacement or a HVAC unit that goes down, that we've got the money there to do that.
Is there anyone present who wishes to speak about the assessment on the Skyway system? Anybody wanting to speak? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Mr. Garrick?
Steve, it's my understanding that this is one of those assessments that's asked for. They want this to happen. They'd rather be assessed than trying to pool money a different way.
So the agreement on the maintenance of the Skyway goes way back to when the Skyway was first installed. And so as property has changed, it's oh gosh, I don't know the legal term, how you attach something to the legal documents of the whatever. Anyway, so if somebody does a title search, they come up with this document in there. So as the property has changed, people take over that knowledge that this is an assessment that needs to be paid.
Thanks.
I'm sure that they'd be happy if they didn't have to pay it, but it's part of that Skyway maintenance agreement that was in place from back in the 80s, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Strand?
Yes.
Garrick?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. Special assessment on nuisance abatement fees. Steve Sprague to explain.
So I'll go sit down after this one. But annually we incur nuisance abatement fees, which can range from code enforcement, where it might be cleaning up a yard or tearing down a house, different things like that, to Dutch elm disease, where they've been provided notice and either ignored the city's notice or didn't have the ability to remove that tree to to new tree plantings, to mowing, and to snow removal, different types of assessments. And again, one thing that I think is interesting to note is on the snow removal, the last round of snow that I think we had was in March. And so the city went out on the ones that got called on, cleaned them up, sent out the billing. And so people were just getting their billing in April and May. And so the snow removal list is long that is presented because I'm required by law to prepare my list in May, and then we assess it in August. So quite a number of those have paid through their regular course. So not all of those are going to be on this list as we complete the round of the assessment here. So let's see. I do want to make a couple comments. Richard Nelson had called me just 10 minutes before the meeting, and he had requested that this be delayed and extended. And I told him at this point we really can't do that. If there's any issues that need to be worked out, we could still do that between now and November 1st when these get added to the property tax rolls. And then there was at least one other person that we've had quite an extensive communication with regarding, it was a dirt pile that was removed, and it involved a number of different departments throughout the city. I don't know if you have any questions on the list.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just clarify, snow removal, I'm assuming is sidewalk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And all of these, the snow removal, the mowing, dirt pile removal, those are all complaint driven. So somebody that, maybe walks the sidewalks in the winter and struggles to get down a sidewalk because it hasn't been cleaned, they can call in to the Public Works Department and register a complaint. The process between the snow removal and the mowing is similar. We send out a contractor that takes pictures before, does the work, and then takes pictures afterwards, compile what the cost is of that, and then send out the bills to the residents.
Commissioner Strand.
Thank you, Mayor. Steve, isn't there a program for folks that they can access a loan to fund removing trees?
So we did a couple of things, and I think one of the things you're talking about is that we allowed tree removal on request to be extended over 5 years, and then there is assistance through planning where people can get help to remove the trees. So it's kind of a two-pronged thing.
These are different than those?
No, they're the same programs, but
is this the difference where people don't ask for help proactively?
Correct.
And the city is obligated to go do it?
Correct.
Because otherwise, so it's important for folks to know, I believe, that they can get assistance getting those trees removed and spread the costs over 5 years?
Correct. And there were no requests this year to extend it over the 5-year period.
With these people that you're giving notice and orders to, do we give them that information as well, so you might want to qualify for this?
Specifically for if it's Dutch elm, then I would have to defer to Scott Ludall, the city forester, but I believe that's all communicated to them. Yeah.
Okay. And last question, what's tree planting? Are we requiring people to plant trees and they're not complying, so we go do it?
Yes, that's correct.
Like, what would be an example of that?
It's generally in new areas or new developments. Part of the building out of a new development is the planting of boulevard trees. And
Scott's coming up.
Good.
Explain that.
Thanks, Steve. The question for the required street tree planting. In 2000, Land Development Code changed to require street trees in new developments. Deer Creek, Osgood, Woodhaven, the newer developments. So we have been, after a period of time, working through those areas to slowly enforce some of the gaps where we have opportunities.
Thank you.
Anybody in the public want to comment on the nuisance fee? Anybody present wish to speak to them? If not, I'll close public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
There's a second.
Okay.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn? Preston?
Aye.
Garrick?
Yes.
Strand?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Aye. Next item is a recommendation of the Police Chief Selection Committee. Jill, you want to take this? And I think he is going to be online or not? Is he going to be on the screen? No?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. So on August 20th, just this past week, the Fargo Police Chief Selection Committee held a full-day assessment with our 3 finalists. And the day prior, the finalists had spent the day with the members of the police department. At the completion of the assessment, the selection committee voted unanimously to advance David Sobalski to the City Commission for approval of a conditional offer and advancement through that conditional offer phase of the process. So the conditional offer phase, again, is contingent upon your approval this evening, and then also our top candidate, David Sobalski, will need to complete all of the components of the police department's conditional offer phase over the next several weeks. So we would come before you again at the completion of the conditional offer phase with a recommendation of appointment.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask.
Mr. Kretz.
How long a period of time is the conditional offer phase?
So the conditional offer phase will likely last somewhere from 3 to 5 or 6 weeks. The Fargo Police Department conducts a thorough background investigation, and then there are other components such as a medical exam, psychological exam, polygraph, all of those components that any new member to the Fargo Police Department has to complete. The new police chief will need to complete those components as well.
So I'm assuming we don't have a start date at this point?
We do not.
Okay.
No, not until we get through near the end of that conditional offer phase. We'll have a better idea of what that start date might be.
Mr. Garrick.
After that phase and he goes through all that testing, does it come back to us to vote again once we've seen the results, or is it just you made the bins and you're in?
Yes, so the results, what happens is those components, we get a recommendation to advance, and then likely the city administration as the hiring authority will come before you with a request to appoint.
Will he be here at that time? He's not on the phone, right?
No, he's not on today, right? No.
Correct. He is not with us today.
Will he be there?
We can give you his contact information, though, if you have questions of him, Mr. Commissioner. Because he's actually just conditional now. He has to get through all those things. Any one of the commissioners can talk to him if they'd like. And I think, John, you talked to him on Friday, right? You did. Commissioner Pipcourt.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to thank Jill. You did a great job, and I thought it was very well handled. And the first round was online, so that was a new experience. There was, I think, 26 candidates. Is that the total?
Yes.
And about half of them, from my perspective, the resumes were chief material, and so it was a very impressive group. And then the 3 finalists were all here, and we had a much larger committee with a fairly, like a good group anyway, and lots of different perspectives. And so I thought it was very good. So thank you for keeping us all pointed in the right direction, Jill. And I just thought overall it went very well. It was a long day on Thursday, and the media interview it's pretty neat how realistic it is. Jill invites the members, and Greg obviously did a great job, but they come in and they do a live press conference, and it gets to be like a real press conference. So it's really fun. You get to see true colors, and so I think it was very well done. I think there were a lot of good candidates, and you feel bad for the 3 finalists because really all 3 of them are excellent, and it's a very stressful thing, and for the people that are interviewing as well. So I thought it was very well done. I want to thank our staff, and obviously the online part of it, that was a new thing that we had never done before, and I thought it went very well, and so I'd make the motion. I think he's an excellent candidate, and when I think of, if you ask me for a word to describe him, it would be thorough. And I think he's a very thorough person, And so the media doesn't always like that. Actually, they made fun of politicians at one point. I don't know if you remember that, Mayor, but he's very good, and I think he will do it. He'll be an excellent addition.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
The public can comment on him during the comment period at the end, and we'd be happy to hear from you at that time. Commissioner Strand.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to also acknowledge the citizens especially who were involved in this process. Even some of us who weren't at the table were hearing from people in the community with their interests and their concerns and helping guide our input. One suggestion I would, of course, we can always, with hindsight, see improvements. My suggestion would be that you query the members of the committee and anybody else for any tips on what to do the next time that we may incorporate into the process, because I'm hearing a few suggestions out there of ideas. Well, why didn't you do this? Or maybe you should have done this. And you'll always have that. But while it's fresh still in our minds, maybe you've already done this, just kind of reach out to the folks in the process and see if they have any constructive tips for us going forward when we do things like this again.
Sure, we can do that.
It's the first time we tried this, John, and we were actually pleased with how well it went with the public involvement, and we will look for ways to improve it. But we felt that the committee did a great job. They thoroughly looked at every candidate, asked some tough questions, so we were pleased with their involvement. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn?
Aye.
Preston?
Aye.
Gehrig?
Yes.
Strand? Mahoney?
Aye. Now we're at public input opportunity. Request from the Downtown Community Partnership to discuss the downtown Fargo business environment. I think we're starting with Josie Dance is going to start this off, and then Kimber, do you have a list for me, please?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm not Josie Dans, I'm Adrienne Olson, but Josie will speak at a later time. I'm here on behalf of the Downtown Community Partnership Board of Directors and the Business Improvement District Advisory Board. We are representatives of downtown Fargo businesses, residents, and ambassadors. We've requested time in this public comment section of the meeting to discuss the downtown business environment. Broadway is the most walkable stretch of street in North Dakota and is the centerpiece of the downtown Fargo experience. The sidewalks belong to everyone. They are public right-of-way governed by the City of Fargo policies. All people have a place in downtown Fargo, and this is a treasured aspect of what makes the neighborhood special. Downtown Fargo is our shared neighborhood. Due to a number of circumstances, such as coronavirus needs diverting social services away from the core of downtown, changes in fighting and open liquor, public drinking ordinances, and a pandemic-induced reduction of commercial and recreational activity downtown, the intersections of Broadway and a number of other identified problem areas have become magnets for gatherings that too often include public intoxication, fighting, harassment, and aggressive confrontation. The situation has escalated to a point that business owners are struggling to make customers feel welcome and safe when their businesses are already suffering economic devastation. We are also hearing from visitors that they are not feeling comfortable walking around downtown, and residents that are moving out of the downtown neighborhood not willing to deal with harassment. We have invited those who've reached out to the DCP with concerns to come tonight to provide public comment at this commission meeting. We are very grateful to our police officers who do so much to keep our neighborhoods safe and inviting to all. We also acknowledge that ordinance changes and limited resources have made the job more difficult. Our work in maintaining a welcoming environment is made possible through a strong partnership with the Gladys Ray Shelter, harm reduction specialists, and all social service providers. The DCP is an active participant in ensuring that people have access to the resources they need. We support a day center for homeless in downtown Fargo, a need that was identified through the community-driven In-Focus comprehensive plan. As a community, we desperately need to have a warm, welcoming place for all to find shelter at all hours of the day. It is our responsibility as a successful and strong city. We also fully support funding our social service providers, including more mobile outreach units. These people operate under a housing first philosophy and wrap our vulnerable neighbors with support services. Downtown Fargo is, for anyone who wishes to be a part of it, predicated on respect for one another and for the community. Thank you for helping us make a better Fargo for all.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Josie Dans. I am a downtown resident and serve on both the DCP board and the DNA board, but I'm here tonight as a downtown business owner. My business is located at 420 Broadway. The issue we are here to discuss tonight has evolved over the past several weeks. At one point, this conversation was largely about the removal or relocation of benches, but I think that most parties in this room, including city and city staff, recognize that this action not only sends an entirely unwelcoming message to those in our community who use the benches the most, but is dismissive of the real problems and only displaces the troubles we're seeing. I think that we're all on the same page in that we all agree we need to find real long-term solutions to the troubles we're seeing. The heightened problematic behavior we are seeing in our city's core is taking away from the quality of life, walkability, and welcoming atmosphere of the downtown neighborhood. These problems stem from a trifecta of shortcomings that include: 1, the lack of proper ordinances in place to respond to problematic behavior; 2, insufficient services and resources available for individuals who often congregate at the benches; and finally, inadequate oversight and accountability of several liquor establishments that have proven to be repeat offenders. I commend downtown police officers for the service they provide to the downtown community. They are visible and they are responsive. However, when they tell me that there are not adequate ordinances in place for them to respond to calls for service in an effective way, it tells me that something needs to change. So, as a business owner, I am here to ask for the city's help in 3 ways. First, establish ordinances that address fighting, open container, public intoxication, all of which would allow officers to respond to problematic behavior in a way that curbs the fighting, drunkenness, harassment, theft, and trespassing on private property that we are seeing. Second, further fund social services that prioritize housing and offer resources and support to those in our community who need it the most. This includes prioritizing efforts in moving forward with a day center in downtown that would offer a place for individuals to go for the services and space they need, while also offering reprieve from the environments and groups that enable problematic behavior. Third, require a higher standard of accountability from certain liquor establishments. The Liquor Control Board has stated that there's no reason they can't have greater oversight, but after years of bringing concerns to them about specific establishments and liquor oversight in general, nothing has changed. We have reached a point where if we don't see change soon, the landscape and quality of life in downtown will see lasting negative effects. We have worked too hard to make downtown the destination it is to go backwards to what it once was. So in conclusion, I believe that business owners, residents, the BID, the DCP, we all want the same thing. We want help from the city in finding solutions as to how to manage the problems that we're experiencing in our city's core. The solution doesn't lie in benches, but in action that addresses the problems in a way that's preventative rather than punishing, and helps all segments of our population rather than tries to displace some for the sake of the rest. We want downtown to continue to be our community's front porch and be a welcoming place for all. The city's willingness to work with the individuals, organizations, and businesses in our downtown neighborhood will allow us to maintain the heart of our city in a way that's safe, inclusive, and treasured by anyone that wishes to be part of it.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else speaking to the downtown issues, please?
Yeah, my name's Andrew Buck. I've lived in town for about 15 years. The downtown area, it's been a long-running problem of people panhandling and things like that. It's always been a discussion point. I think I don't fundamentally disagree with some of the solutions that were put forward. However, I think a reordering of the priorities is in order. The first solution that was proposed was increased ordinances about public drunkenness and the fighting ordinance that was discussed a few weeks ago at one of the earlier commission meetings. Commissioner Preston mentioned that we can't arrest our way out of these problems, and I agree with that sentiment. And I think trying to prioritize things like ordinances just criminalizes activity that is just basically, we're talking about public drunkenness. If you're drinking in your home, that's legal, and we have the Liquor Control Board and we have policies and ordinances about that, and that's not seen as a problem. If you're homeless and you're drinking in public. And so what you're effectively doing by criminalizing public drunkenness is, without offering assistance to people that are homeless, is just criminalizing being homeless. And it just gives a reason basically to arrest people who are down on their luck and don't have any other options. So I would say that the prioritization should be on assisting the people that are down there first, get the day shelter set up, get social services improved, redirect funding in that way. And then if it continues to be a problem, then you can look into ordinances and things like that. But addressing it first as a problem of policing and increased ordinances, I think, is the wrong direction. So, thank you.
Mike Rollum. I work downtown, live in Fargo, born and raised here. So the problem where this whole thing came from, I think, is the decision last year to cut down the trees in Robert Street. Before, up to that point, a lot of the people who are now causing the problems, I'm told, on Broadway, we were hanging out in front of the Salvation Army under those trees where it was nice and cool. It was the only really tolerable place for homeless people downtown. And now that is an oven on that street right now because there are no trees, no one hangs out there and they go to Broadway instead. So if you really want to take care of the issue, you need to give people a place to go that is somewhere where you can actually want to be for a while and not be in the way of other people like they had before on Robert Street. But as far as this goes, like, I work downtown and I've seen no problems with violence at all. We haven't had I bartend and I haven't seen a fight at my bar in a year and a half. So I don't know where this problem is or if it even really exists other than in some people's minds. I haven't seen any statistical evidence of it, for instance. I haven't seen any evidence that there's an increase in police calls. So unless that's presented, I don't think there's really a cost to do anything on this. Thank you.
There's a young lady that's sitting. Go ahead. There's two of you there now.
Bonjour, I'm Wabishki Guidin Ikwe Tracy L. Wilkie. I was born in Fargo 53 years ago. And congratulations to the new police chief, first of all, and thank you to the city and everybody else working on addressing homelessness. And I appreciate what Josie had to say. And working on businesses. We have a lot of work to do with the overrepresentation of Native Americans in our homeless situations and also other people of color. I'm very thankful that for Fargo and the funds you put forward to have beds for the Gladys Ray shelter. But there's so much more we could do with building better relationships and having a place for the people to go who don't have any place to hang out during the day. I know the youth, Fraser Limited has the Stepping Stones Resource Center for the younger people, but the older people need a place to go for resources too and look for jobs and have something to do and keep themselves busy. Thank all of you for everything you do. Miigwech, have a good night.
Hi, my name is Faith Dixon, one of the board members of Black Lives Matter. Moving homelessness outreach out of the police department. This is one reason we say defund the police. We believe that it should be put into the capable hands of the social service agencies in our area. When we see this problem, it's not only because this can create mistrust of the police, but it also can lead to reluctance to accept services offered by the police, including emergency shelter. Further, it can lead to people trying to avoid the police at all costs, which may create further risks to their health and safety. I was also a business owner downtown Fargo about 8 years ago when I had a little store, a little boutique downtown. And I also didn't have any issues coming from a bigger city. From a bigger city in Chicago, downtown has always been a place where people hang out at. There was a lot of homelessness going on, but there are also services to help those ones instead of just arresting them and locking them up in jail. That's not going to create a solution. That's going to create more problems. So I believe that there is a lot of funding that is out there that can help fix the problem of homelessness in our small community, because this is a small community compared to other communities. So when we're giving all these type of tax breaks and all this funding, let's think about the homeless population. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Maureen Robinson. I live in North Fargo, and I've worked at Everett's Barbershop at 230 Broadway since we opened in June of 2012. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on an issue that is at our doorstep. Since reopening after COVID mandated shutdown, the picnic tables out front of our shop have been an ongoing concern. I love the idea of what these picnic tables are for. Community. We at Everett's Barbershop love the community in this great city. Unfortunately, day after day, they're used for drinking in public, paraphernalia, and panhandling. Since reopening our barbershop due to new health regulations, we cannot have our customers wait inside until we are ready for them. They are outside with nowhere to sit because these picnic tables are full of those loitering. Then they panhandle our customers, or worse, get close enough to touch. With COVID-19, that will make anyone feel uncomfortable. We're hearing over and over again from our customers their concerns about this, and that they think twice before bringing their children downtown with them. I've watched as Charles from Soul Tacos had his lunchtime business ruined because there's nowhere for his customers to sit and eat, and he is constantly harassed by them while he's set up. Just today, one of our customers at the barbershop was waiting at the picnic tables and was approached by a woman and told, in a much more colorful language that I won't tell you, to get off the table and that was their turf. If this continues to be a trend in front of our business, we would maybe reconsider relocating. It's a place for our customers where they can feel safe and be okay with waiting. One of our barbers is leaving us to go to West Fargo in October, and he's very excited to not deal with this issue anymore. After working with police and BID, it has become apparent that these issues are not being contained. Listening to both the public and business owners, it's clear a resolution is needed. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. My name is Kay Schwartzwalter, and I am a downtown resident. I'm here to tell you that the problem behavior is not specific to just Broadway. It is spilling into the surrounding parts of downtown. I live 2 blocks from Broadway. There is a neighborhood church and 2 NDSU buildings nearby. Most days, especially when it's hot outside, there are people spreading blankets or clothing under the trees on the nearby properties. Sometimes they are there for hours. I don't begrudge them shelter, but many times they leave their empty bottles, food containers, and other trash behind. Oftentimes there is yelling and swearing, and I'm fearful the encounter could become physical. I'm panhandled at least twice a week as I sit on my front porch, and I no longer invite my grandkids to visit. I go to their home. While the problems have steadily gotten worse, this summer is the worst it's been. My home is my place of refuge. I love living here, and I'd like to stay. And I want to do my part to work to solve these issues, but I don't know where to go or who to contact. These folks are part of our community, and they need our help. Please make this a priority. Thank you.
My name is Paul Gley. I'm the board chair of the Downtown Neighborhood Association. I would like to express our strong support for the letter in your packet submitted by the Downtown Community Partnership. We share their observations about the challenges downtown faces in continuing to be a welcoming place for residents and visitors, and for those who come downtown to work, shop, and enjoy leisure activities. We have a social problem that requires the dedicated attention of all the parties who have an interest in downtown. It is not a problem that can be addressed by rearranging physical things. We need social services that can assist people in need of help. We need liquor establishments to take greater responsibility for the effects their businesses have on the public spaces downtown. We immediately need a day center for the homeless population so they can have a place to go that gives them dignity. And we need our city to take the lead in addressing this constellation of issues. We will do our part, but private or charitable organizations cannot deal with this problem alone. Therefore, we ask our city government to please place this matter at the top of your agenda and take deliberate measures without delay to address the pressing social issues in downtown Fargo. Thank you.
Is that our sound system that keeps backing up? Good evening.
Good evening, commissioners and mayor. My name is Cody Schuler. I'm the executive, the executive director of the Fargo Moorhead Coalition to End Homelessness. Our nearly 70-member partners share a common mission to find permanent solutions to preventing and ending homelessness through advocacy, education, and collaboration. In my more than 5 years with the FM Coalition, discussion and style of things like placement of benches downtown, particularly on Broadway, has been an ongoing point of contention and conversation. At the heart of these conversations are usually the members of the general public who are experiencing homelessness. Over 1,000 people experience homelessness in the Fargo Moorhead community every day. That fact is not caused by the placement of benches or the style of benches or a lack of ordinances concerning public behavior. The reason for 30+ years of persistent and systemic homelessness in our community and nation are complex. The solutions are not necessarily simple either. I won't make an exhaustive list here tonight because we'd be here all evening discussing things like attainable housing or under-resourced services. Instead, I'll get right to the point of addressing the key underlying issue: the pervasive socio-political norms and attitudes that stigmatize homelessness in the policy sphere and thwart efforts of homeless service providers to meet the needs of the homeless population. So I want to try and set the tone for the conversation that is necessary for us to have as a community as we move forward. We need to remember that all residents of our community are our neighbors, regardless of their housing or their economic status. It has often been said that society is judged by its treatment of those who are most vulnerable. Therefore, I challenge us as a city, as we do work, and as a metro-wide community, to have conversations that do not further marginalize people who are often already marginalized, that we don't perpetuate the socio-political norms and attitudes that stigmatize people experiencing homelessness, and that together we seek solutions that are evidence-based, that are out there. We know that they work. Nearly all of them are applicable to solving the issues that we face in our own community. There's no reason that we can't embrace them. We can't move the problem down the street or to another part of town. We're not going to arrest our way out of these concerns, and we need to have humane conversation that leads to solutions. Nearly all underlying issues of homelessness are solvable, and we have a civic and a political, if we have the civic and the political will to do what is necessary, we can solve this issue. I think that our community is at a crossroads with these reoccurring debates that concern and concerns, and that I want to challenge us to rise to the occasion in a way that so that those who come after us will judge us with distinction for how we came together to create a better community for all of our citizens. Thank you.
Very good. I think we have our charge of what we need to do. Arlette, I'm curious whether planning would work with our police department, or do we downtown business people or some type of committee work together on this? Because it's obviously not just police, and it's obviously not just social services, health department, at DESI would have to be involved as well.
Yeah, we've been having lots of conversations actually. And maybe, I don't know if Nicole would want to come up and just say a few things about what's in the works.
Sure. If you would
want to engage in longer conversation, I would also invite the interim chief runner, Desi Fleming, and Jan. But as a quick highlight, the four of us have been coordinating along with Commissioner Preston on not only with the increase in funds we're receiving from Cdbg and COVID that you just approved on the consent agenda, but looking at the holistic response as it relates to all of the concerns we've just heard this evening. And so we know there's a whole lot of experiences happening downtown, a lot of it with increase as a result of the pandemic, but as others have mentioned, has been going on previous pandemic, which is why on the Downtown in Focus plan, the day center is highlighted as one of the items through significant public outreach and significant interaction with our stakeholders at that master plan. In 2 weeks, we hope, I don't want to steal Jan's thunder, but she's been working with the social service providers and looking at partnership and seeing if we can do a pop-up kind of winter shelter and for quarantine and isolation in regards to COVID, as well as for social service providing. And we would hope to have a more specific plan for you to consider in 2 weeks from now. And then in regards to, in addition on your, I don't want to steal Jan's thunder, and when maybe as part of that in 2 weeks from now, she can also talk about the amazing things the mobile outreach unit did as part of COVID. You know, a lot of our social services closed during COVID are, and some of the direct response that you normally would see, you know, just happened as a result. So we're seeing a lot of the after effects, if you will, with the lack of social service providing. So we're reaching out to our partners right now.
So can we just set up a task assignment that we're going to work on this issue involving the people we need to involve, and the Planning Commission would head that up, Arlette? Is that reasonable?
Well, I don't think the Planning Commission, I think it's basically, it's outside of any of our boards and commissions right now. And so it's probably, Chief Renner has a meeting already set up for us on Wednesday, and we're looking at a whole host of responses. And we also want this to be data-driven and trying to get more information on what we're seeing.
I'm following that, but it's going to be the planning department, not necessarily the commission. That'd be
Correct.
fine.
Planning department
And health
along-
department has to be involved, and maybe Bruce Grubb, you can figure out all the different people that need to be involved with this, so.
Yeah, and so right now it's police, planning, and health.
Very good. Thank you for all your input tonight. It's very good for the commission to have a listening session like that. We do have one more listening session with resident comments now are about to come forth. 2.5 minutes is your time. I have a Brad Schaefer, I think, that's up first.
Well, I know it was going to go in order. I would have been further down the list. Thank you guys for having this public comment. And some of this is just in general with stuff that's just, I guess, going on, not just in Fargo, but in the country right now. I just had a general comment. My best friend came to, and his wife came to Fargo, and they both graduated from NDSU, got their doctorates, and he's now teaching in the Portland area. And he happens to be a man of color. Got really cool guy. I like him a lot. He's my best friend. And recently he had to, he was told he had to explain to his daughter about racism in America. And that angered me. It really did, because here's a guy, him and his wife, born in Zimbabwe, had 2 kids at Sanford in Fargo, moves to Portland with all the crap going on there, has to now explain to his daughter about something that he knew nothing about in this country. And it really bothered me. And I just don't want to comment that, and I heard this from a prominent man of color in this country, how we solve racism, and that is, don't talk about it. And roll that around in your head for a minute. Or not. We can pass this down to our children, and they can pass it down to their children, and it will never go away. And I just think it's ridiculous, some of the stuff that's happened locally here. I've even heard something about you, Dr. Mahoney, that R word being bandied about, and I met you and your son in a movie theater last year, and your child is a child of color. And I thought, that is ridiculous for somebody to come up with something like that. Maybe it's our local rag will print it, maybe, and they did. And I just think it's ridiculous, and it needs to stop, and we can stop it by not talking about it. Thank you.
Ed Krasowski. Faith, we don't applause. It's just comment time. Ed, I can't pronounce your name the right way. I think you're here. Yes.
Took me 40 years to say it the right way, so I won't hold you to it.
How would I best say it?
It's Kristosik, Edward Kristosik.
Krasowski. Okay, thank you.
Just want to take time to say thanks for hearing this tonight. The big question is, and I know everybody's tired of talking about this, is Section 200403 of the Land Development Code legal according to state law? And the answer to the question is no. This is not a gun issue. This is a legality issue. That's pure and simple. This is not my opinion, and I'm not an attorney, but I have consulted an attorney, and I've been assured that this is not a legal ordinance. Now, we all know that the AG has refused to render an opinion on this, but that refusal is not a confirmation of the legality of this ordinance. Some in this room might consider this a win, that he didn't render an opinion, but you have to understand that this sets a precedent, and it may come down in the future that this leads to a decision that you are not quite so happy with. The bottom line is the state law says the city cannot enact any ordinance regarding the ownership, possession, sales, licensure of firearms and ammunition that's more restrictive than state law. This commission cannot circumvent state law for any reason. Fargo is quite simply in violation of state law. Now, some feel that it's a safety issue, some feel that it's not appropriate. Others want to consult leaders before making any decisions. However, really none of this matters. There is no decision to be made here and no vote to be cast. The city is in violation of state law, and this commission has the ability to do one thing and one thing only, and that's repeal this section of the Land Development Code. Those who are against this, the removal of this, those who are for the removal of this ordinance, they need to lobby their state legislators to get the law changed, not have a dubious law on the books with the city, which is regulating sales of firearms from a home. The city commission needs to fix this immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. John Wilson.
Well, once again, Mr. Does Not Like Crowds is here again on the same subject that Ed K., we'll call him that, it's easier, is involved with. And I've reached out to all of you via email before, and I've also included my contact information. And I will ask any of you that have any questions regarding firearms to please reach out and talk to me. There's a lot of things that are pointed out by the Fargo Neighborhood Coalition that really just aren't true and really don't have any bearing in this conversation. There's many things that I am able to do without a federal firearms license, one of which I was able to obtain since the last time we were in here. I now have a Class 3, so I can collect curio and relics, firearms over 50 years old. And basically what it boils down to in my world is doing things the correct way by obtaining my FFL, more so for gun shows than to just conduct it as a business out of my house. But there's many of those things that I can conduct out of my house right now without having that license. And there's, you know, they're all completely within the law. So I would ask that you take this under consideration, and I'll follow this up with an email tomorrow, again, with my contact information. Because, you know, Mr. Strand, when you talk about being inclusive and you want to talk to the neighborhood leaders, please include the gun owners in these conversations. We have a voice too. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Holden Harwood.
I'm Holden Harwood. I'm going to piggyback off some of what Ed said, but I sent Mahoney, I sent you an email with a Attorney General opinion from 1988. And in that opinion, they had a piece from a judiciary hearing from 1984, and it says, clearly a city may not adopt ordinances prohibiting the ownership of firearms, establishing permit procedures, or regulating those areas specifically prohibited by NDCC 62.1-01-03, which is the law that Edward just stated. So that's about all I have to say. So.
Okay, thank you. Andrew Buck is up next. You already, okay. Glenn Youngerman. Just so the commissioners know, I have two more speakers. So.
Hi, my name is Glenn Youngerman. I am an FFL, Class 1. I'm a Moorhead resident. I'm a West Fargo business owner. And I too would plead to the commissioners to not support any ordinance that would limit businesses, especially in regards to firearms, because I'm trying to relocate back over to North Dakota, where I grew up. But if I find property and I wish to move my FFL side of my business to my home, I want that to be able to be in Fargo. If you have never had any involvement with what it takes to become an FFL, they thoroughly vet you. So anybody who's operating as an FFL and a business owner in any city, the federal government knows plenty about them to make sure nothing's going to probably happen. So thank you.
Thank you. Wes Flo.
I just wanted to speak on kind of where we left off last time, right before my mic was cut off. The process for selecting the new chief, it mirrored pretty much what the process went along the entire time with the selection of Renner. We weren't really able to be involved in it, but we definitely fell in line. I want to say that I do believe that Chief Zabolski is going to make a pretty good chief. I thought that he was very insightful with the information when brought along with others. He understood who Burdick was, the lay of the land, and so forth. I just want to say going forward in the future that I hope that as a city, that we can just be a little more inclusive and have more voices involved when we make these decisions. I hope that nobody fights this just because of where we are in this country. Just last night, another black man was shot 7 times in Wisconsin. And we have very limited time to get our things in order. COVID is surging in Fargo. Racial injustice is still going on. And I'm afraid that if we don't get this figured out really soon with the impending election, that's probably going to be the most destructive one we've seen as a country, that Fargo won't be able to insulate itself from the ills that goes on across this country. The guy who first spoke said he doesn't think that racism still is going on. Just this morning, I had to file 2 separate police reports with the Fargo Police Department for death threats, 2 different death threats that I've received in the last 3 days. This is a really serious issue, and we need to move away a little bit from the bickering and get back to the table and start having some constructive dialogue, just to make sure that our community becomes and remains a place that's safe for people of color and for our LGBTQ community as well, and for the overall community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Wes. At one time, you said that you thought we could do it different than anywhere else in the country, and we'll consider to be committed to that. So we will work together and make it a better community. Gentlemen, that's all I have on my list. This is the end of public hearing. This is the end of the meeting. Any comments in closure? Commissioner Strand, did you want to say something, or did you want me to adjourn?
Thank you, Mayor. I really think it's great to have real input from the people that we serve. So thank you all for chiming in and sharing your best thinking. My thoughts for our commission, maybe for the moment present, and I'm not sure about process, but I would suggest maybe we kind of informally pass this baton in a leadership sense to Commissioner Preston. Unless there's until we find a place it fits. You know, you seem to have a real interest in it, Commissioner Preston, and you know the players involved, and you're already hitting the road, but it's just my thought, at least for the moment, we have somebody we can channel to until it fits properly. Does that make sense to everybody or not? Or
I think everybody's going to be involved because it's such a serious issue for the community. So I would banter that every one of the commissioners would have some foot into it, John, but if Starlette would be the lead on it, I think that'd be helpful.
Just have a point person for the moment.
Commissioner Preston.
Yeah, I apologize, I forget the formalities up here. There were 3 issues that got pointed out, and certainly the second one, I certainly have interest and perhaps some expertise in that. I do think the other 2 probably should be looked at as well. In fact, I was talking to the city attorney prior to the meeting about ordinances that are in place or should be in place and how they're being used. And maybe that needs to be looked at. I mean, we considered the anti-fighting ordinance a few weeks back, and I mean, I'd be the first to admit I'm wrong if that's truly what's needed, but I would say before we went down that road, there should be some discussion about how ordinances are currently being used and whether the tools are really there probably to deal with that. The third issue was liquor licenses, and I'm going to look at the 2 here that are on the Liquor Control Board. You know, we need to look at calls that are being made to certain establishments and try to deal with that as well. So I think it's 3-pronged, actually.
We thank everybody for their input tonight. We appreciate all the time you were in here today. Commissioner Stan, a closeout statement?
Two little things, Mayor, quickly. I've heard of one other person who's had death threats, who's also, to my knowledge, in this room. Just for the sake of seeing it, have any of you, if you've had death threats over some of these issues, could you raise your hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, 6 people. This is really eye-opening for us to see this information. We all need to protect each other. In this country we're in, you have the right to engage and speak up and stand up for what you believe in. And everybody deserves and needs to be safe. So I take this as another volley to the leaders of our community that we have people who as these discussions unfold and aren't always comfortable, who aren't safe. And please let us know and let our law enforcement know and everybody know these circumstances so we can be acting on knowledge. Okay? Last comment, Mayor, is happy birthday to Commissioner Gehrig on September 2nd.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.